Hi, how are you? This is a pre-recorded video for the undergraduate internship program, LinkedIn and Handshake workshop for spring quarter on April 22nd, 2020. My name is Will Herrera, and I'm director of the undergraduate internship program. So this video recording should be about 60 minutes, and then we'll transition back to a live question and answer session through the webinar. So our objectives in this next hour are to answer several big questions. Number one being how to begin your internship job career search. Second question is how to build your professional network. And the third question is how to use LinkedIn and Handshake to explore those career opportunities. Our agenda then is I'll start with an introduction to career exploration. That should take hopefully about 25 minutes. The second agenda item will be using LinkedIn to explore career opportunities. And then I'll talk a little bit about using Handshake to explore career opportunities. And then we'll close with some resources. So as you can see, in an hour, this is going to be a surface level introduction to all three of these topics. So let me start with an introduction to career exploration. So before you start using tools like LinkedIn or Handshake to kind of start your career job internship search, you really need to look at career exploration as a whole. So I want to really talk about that first. And really, this is a matching game. It's all about understanding your own personal innate internal curiosity and interests, your value system, what motivates you, where are you going to thrive, what kind of work do you want to do, are you going to enjoy doing? All of that needs to overlap with the career interests that the company offers you, right? That a certain company or a certain position or a certain internship or entry-level job is offering for you. And what you're looking for is that perfect sweet spot in the middle. So having these two overlapping circles in a Venn diagram form, and then you're looking for that perfect sweet spot in the middle where your own personal curiosity and interests and motivations and value system align with what the company is doing and the work that they're offering you or that you're trying to secure. So this is, to me, the key. And I could sit here and kind of pontificate on the philosophy of life and the meaning of life and finding happiness in life. But I don't really want to do that because that's not what this workshop's about. But I do kind of will tell this story, and I think all of you may or may not have met somebody like this, but I know every adult my age who's like mid-career has met somebody who's gone through this kind of this career pathway. So I'll use a medical doctor as an example where, for 4 years, they worked so hard in high school to get a perfect 4.0 GPA to go to the best possible undergraduate school so that hopefully one with a medical school on campus so that they can get access to the medical field and get an introduction to medical school. Then they do 4 more years. So 8 years in now, 4 more years of medical school. And then they do maybe 3 years of residency, and they're still not really getting paid yet, right? They're getting paid like minimal, like, $30,000 a year. And so that's, 8 plus the 3. So that's 11 years in. And finally, maybe they graduate from the residency and they go and get their first actual paying job and they start making some quote unquote real money. And so 2 years in or less than a year in, that medical doctor realizes, oh my gosh, what have I done? I hate this. This is not what I thought being a doctor was going to be. I don't like dealing with the health insurance companies, or I don't like working at this hospital with all of these restrictions and rules. And I don't want to risk going into private practice because there's so much liability and money to build that up. This is not what I want to do. And then, 13 years into their career, they realize that they hate their job and they don't want to do it anymore. So you obviously don't want to be that guy. And that story can translate to any profession. It can translate to being a lawyer, or to you, to being an engineer. So really what I want to talk about in the next couple slides is how do you avoid that being you? And the key here is for you to kind of do some internal self-exploration to figure out what it is that you're looking for, what it is that excites you, and what it is that's going to make you happy. You're going to spend overwhelming majority of your adult life at work, right? And you work 40 hours a week, and you do the math. You're spending very little time at home or with your family or on the weekends doing personal time, right? Most of your adult life is at work. So you want to make sure you find something that matches what you're interested in. So I want to introduce this concept called the Ecoguy. There is a website called EcoguiTest.com where you can go to this website and complete this survey. It'll ask you a bunch of questions. And the idea here is to align your personality, your interests, your skills, and your values to find the right career for you. So what you see here are 4 concentric circles. You have what you love, the what the world needs circle, the what you can be paid to do circle, and the what you're good at circle. So if you overlap the what you love to do and what you're good at, that is called passion. So that's that overlapping Venn diagram there. If you look at what you're good at and what the world and what you can get paid to do, that's called profession, and that's this overlap here. What the world needs and what you can get paid to do, that's called a vocation with this overlap here. And then what the world needs and what you love to do is mission. And what you're hoping to do is find that perfect spot, sweet spot right in the middle that overlaps all 4 circles. So you want to find some work, full-time work, a company, a special position that aligns with what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid to do, and what you're good at. And so you can go onto this website, EcoGuyTest.com, and take your own Ecoguy test just to kind of, again, reflect on what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you could get paid to do. So I highly recommend you do that. And again, finding the perfect company, the perfect job, or the perfect internship really starts with knowing yourself and what you are looking for. So this circle here is the interests, the world needs is the skills, the what you can get paid for is values, and then what you're good at is personality. So, and this is a screenshot of what might come out of your Ecoguy. So I just took a screenshot so you see what the result is going to be. And obviously this will be tailored to you and how you answer the questions. A second thing you can do is when you get onto Handshake, so all of you hopefully know how to log on to Handshake. I just asked the poll earlier before the video to see if you already activated your Handshake. So I'm assuming 100% of you have. Once you get into Handshake, in the top right-hand corner, there is a Career Center tab. And if you click on that drop-down menu, there is an option that says Career Center Resources. So under that Career Center Resources will pop up this screen. And there are several things. There's a career guide, there's a Focus 2 assessment, there's a vault, there are online interviews, there's a ton of resources that the Career Center has offered, supposedly free, right, for you. Really, you're paying tuition, those tuition dollars pay for all these services. But there's one that I want to hone in on, which is the Focus 2 assessment. So if you were to click on that, this screen would pop up. And this is basically a self-assessment. Again, you answer a bunch of questions. There are 5 categories. One is the work interest assessment, the personality assessment, the leisure assessment, the values assessment, and the skills assessment. As you can see, this aligns almost identically with the EcoGuyTest.com. And so this is another way for you to kind of answer a bunch of questions, answer from the hip, kind of just what your heart tells you quickly, don't overthink it. And then it will spit out some results for you. So you can take this Focus 2 assessment. All you need to do is log into Handshake, click on Focus 2, and then you create a login. You're going to need to use a code. The code is Go Bruins, which is right here, GOBRUINS. And again, you can do this outside of the workshop, but I do highly recommend you complete the Focus 2 assessment. Again, it'll give you some results that you hopefully align with or reinforce what you already knew about yourself. And maybe you might get some surprising results that may make you rethink or adjust your potential career plans. It's kind of silly to expect an 18, 19, 20-year-old to figure out their perfect Ecoguy, their perfect career pathway at such a young, tender age without having explored the workplace, without having, worked at different companies and tried different jobs and developed different skills. So it's really hard for somebody so early in their career to figure out exactly what they want. And there's a lot of people my age that are still figuring it out, right? So there's no pressure to do this, but it's good to engage in the self-exploration process and to be taking these types of assessments. I would recommend on a yearly basis, to be honest, because things change. You learn new things, you discover new things, you have a shift in mindset and change in attitude where you're looking for different things at different points in your life. But I do recommend you do these assessments at least once a year so you can get a feel for, at this point in time, what is it that you're looking for so that you can find something that makes you happy. Moving on, there's also a Myers-Briggs personality assessment. So hopefully all of you have taken one of these at some point in your early careers. But if you haven't, there's a link here, Myers-Briggs, where you can take a free personality assessment. There are, I think, 16 personality type profiles, and you can figure out what kind of personality are you. And this should help you decipher and figure out what kind of work environment you're going to thrive in. Because certain personalities like oversight and they want somebody telling them what to do, and they want very strict rules and guidelines, and they want to give you, you need a box and rules to play or to do work under. Other people, they have personality where they hate that. They think that's micromanagement. They want to be left to be free and to have the creativity to explore things and do things on their own, in their own manner. And so who you are and what your innate personality is should absolutely shift where you end up looking for work and what kind of company and position you're hoping to get. And more importantly, what kind of boss you're looking for. So those interviews are not just them interviewing you. You should be interviewing them also. So those are kind of three assessments that I highly recommend you go through on a personal, kind of introspective, reflective process so that you can find this perfect alignment. So you know what you're looking for. And that's really the first step of any career exploration process. Oh, by the way, I should mention, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down or jot them down in the Q&A portion of the Zoom webinar. And then we'll get to those questions at the end in the live Q&A. There are different types of companies. There are small companies, large companies. I'm not going to go through this right now, but it's a slide that you can kind of take a look at, maybe take a screenshot right now so you can look at this later. But you definitely, once you know yourself and once you complete these assessments and you know what you're looking for, you're going to decide whether a small company is a better fit for you or a large company. And again, that's totally based on your personality and who you are and what your value system is. So I'm not going to go too much into detail to this slide. At the end of the day, your goal is to identify a dream job. Sorry about that pause there. There was something that was distracting me, so I figured it's better for me to pause than to ruin the video. So anyways, the idea here is for you to eventually identify a dream job, a dream company. And you should be able to, outline what is it that you're looking for. So this is a sample here of a student, maybe a bioengineering student that's looking for a large biotech company that, that allows them to interact with a variety of different fields in biotech. So this is kind of a large conglomerate company that has sub-companies like Genentech, Spark Therapeutics, Tusk Therapeutics, over 40 different biotech companies under the one conglomerate big company. They're looking for a company that's innovating current technologies that impact people's lives, a company that addresses current biomedical challenges through inventions and innovation and addresses diversity and equality as part of their mission. Once you know what you're looking for, then you can start finding positions. And this is kind of a dream job, dream company for this student. It's a chief technical officer at a biotech company called Roche. And again, it's a Swiss multinational company, but they have control of several American biotech companies like Genentech. They have pharmaceutical and diagnostic products, and a CTO, the Chief Technology Officer position, is responsible for all technical and scientific affairs. So this is kind of a dream job, like at the end, it's going to take some time to get this. This is not an entry-level dream position, right? So you could start with looking for an entry-level position for yourself or a kind of 5-10 years down the line dream endpoint of your arc. And so, it's good to have goals. Again, those goals will change. Obviously, it's not like it's set in stone and you're committed to doing this for the rest of your life, but it's important to know, for you to know where are you at this point in time and what you're hoping to work towards and what you're looking towards. So anyways, bottom line here, without wasting too much more of the time, is to find your Ikigai. And that starts with looking within. And then once you know what you're looking for, you can start looking outside. So what I want to do now is actually transition to how do you start looking outside? How do you start the job or internship job search process? And it really starts with building a professional network. And so I want to give you some resources on how you can start to build your own professional network. So hopefully all of you have heard of UCLA One. It's a poll that I asked during the, before the video started. And so this is basically a tool that UCLA has created for all UCLA alums and current Bruin students. And the idea is to connect alums who've graduated and are now working in industry, to connect them with mentors, mentees who are current, UCLA undergraduates. So if you just Google UCLA One, there's a Get Started button. You click on that button, and then it asks you to log in. So I suggest you use your Google Gmail UCLAG at g.ucla.edu account, because that will automatically recognize you as a current enrolled undergraduate student. If you don't want to use your g.ucla.edu account, then you can use your LinkedIn account also. I don't recommend you use Facebook. I do, recommend using a different email. Either use your UCLA Gmail account or your LinkedIn account. Some students are worried about, if I use my Gmail account, after I graduate, won't that Gmail go away? And in fact, that's not true. You get to transition and roll over your undergraduate g.ucla.edu account to an alumni account. And I know that because I was a UCLA graduate student and then transitioned to the alum. So I recommend you use either LinkedIn or your g.ucla.edu account. Once you're in, you will have to first create your profile and update your information, your major, your year in school, your hometown, things like that nature. And that helps with the mentor matching kind of process. So you definitely need to complete your profile first. And then once you complete your profile, right here on the left says Find Your Mentor. So you want to click on that Find Your Mentor tab. And there are a ton of UCLA alums that are on the UCLA One Mentor platform. And then what you need to do is start doing some search, right? You can search by keyword, and there's a Find Your Mentor button. And there you can search by company. You can search by, there's Google, Microsoft. You can search by industry. So you can say biomedical or healthcare, or you can say tech, or you could say, civil engineering or transportation engineering, whatever it is you're interested in, you can do it. You can search by company, you can search by industry, you can also search by keywords. You can put like material science engineering major or computer science. You can also search by location. So by hometown of the mentor. So if you're from the Bay Area and you want a mentor from the Bay, you can look by Bay Area. So there's plenty of search functionalities on here. The key is for you to, again, know what you're looking for first, and then you can start searching for a mentor. And then once you find a couple people that are willing to help, it'll list them for you, and then you can click view their profile, see what they're all about, see if they're a good fit for you. And then you can, this is the filters still. So on the left here, you can see the filter: location, affiliation. You can search by name. You can search by, a lot of different functions. Then you click on request mentorship. So once you identify 2 people that you want to serve as a mentor, you click request mentorship. And then that will transition to a short little note that you can write that just says, hey, I'm a UCLA undergrad. I found you on the Mentor One platform. I'm interested in learning more about your career and your trajectory. I read that this, that, whatever, X, Y, and Z, and that sounds really interesting to me. And I'd love to learn more about you and your work. And that's it. You keep it simple, a couple sentences, you click request. And then hopefully within a week, you'll have somebody reply that says, yes, I'm willing to be your mentor. So that is the first and most important way for you to start building your professional network. And then one day, in 5 years and 10 years, when you graduate and you're working at a company, maybe you sign up to be a mentor for another undergrad. So, and you pay it forward, right? And so it's all about, I tell students that at every point in their career, they should have a mentor above them who they're learning from, and they should have a mentee below them who they're helping and supporting to get to the level that you're at. So I think if we all just take this philosophy in mind, then the world will be a better place, and we will all be, improving as professionals. All right, now I want to transition to how to use LinkedIn to explore career opportunities. And again, I want to remind you, if you have any questions whatsoever, just type them into the Q&A on the Zoom webinar there, and we'll answer them during the live Q&A portion at the end of the video. So how to use LinkedIn, which is kind of the beef and the meat of what today's today's workshop is about. So I'm going to cover 3 important things, okay? LinkedIn Strategies 101. 1, how to maximize your profile. 2, how to identify influencers. And 3, how to build your network, okay? So number 1, who uses LinkedIn? 85% of jobs and internships are filled through networking, right? So LinkedIn ultimately is an online professional network. Just like you have Twitter as a social network, or you have Instagram as a social network, or, you know, some of you who older ones who have Facebook, you know, Facebook as a social network. LinkedIn is a professional network. So 85% of positions are filled through networking. 40% of users use LinkedIn daily. That's a pretty impressive stat in my opinion, right? That of all the users that are on LinkedIn, 40% log on daily and use the platform daily. Just like you probably use Instagram daily or any other social, or Twitter daily. 500 million people use LinkedIn. And I believe that number has increased since this COVID pandemic because a lot of people are using it now to connect online. 92% of employers recruit open positions using LinkedIn. So it is a very important platform. You need to be on it as you kind of jumpstart your career search for either for an internship or an entry-level job when you graduate. Why use LinkedIn? If I haven't already kind of stated good enough reasons, it's really connecting you to other professionals across fields and industries. And, you know, you never know what people are going to go on to do different things. So for example, our School of Engineering at UCLA is named the Henry Samueli School of Engineering and Applied Science. Well, guess what? You know, 40 years ago, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago, Henry Samueli was an undergrad student, just like you, probably looking, you know, sitting in a workshop like this at that time. It wasn't LinkedIn. It was probably something else, you know, recruitment workshop or something. But he was a student just like you. And then he became a master's level student, and then a PhD, and then he graduated, and then he started a company, and now he's a billionaire, right? Or a multimillionaire. And enough money, enough millionaires that he can donate, you know, millions of dollars to UCLA Engineering so that the school is named after him. So you never know who you're going to connect with and what they're going to go on to do. Inevitably, somebody in your class is going to, you know, hit it big, become a Nobel laureate, you know, discover a new patent, you know, write code that's going to revolutionize our technology. So you just establish your network early and keep in touch with them over time. Number 2 bullet here says to increase your networking and create opportunities that will lead to employment in the future, right? So don't just build connections to get employed now. You build connections to keep relationships, to build relationships for future opportunities. And so don't think short term, think long term. 70% of employers have rejected a candidate because their information that was found online was not good, right? So they went to their LinkedIn account and it's incomplete, or it's just, you know, it's not very good. You know, that turns people off. I can guarantee you there's no employer is going to bring somebody in for an interview without first checking their LinkedIn account. No doubt, 100% confident in saying that. They're going to check your LinkedIn. So you need to have a good LinkedIn account and profile. 85% of employers say that a positive online reputation influences their hiring decisions. So again, you won't even get an interview without the LinkedIn, but at least once they see your LinkedIn, they bring you for an interview. And then during the interview, they're going to ask you about those LinkedIn connections. They're going to be like, oh, I see on LinkedIn that you worked with so-and-so, you know, on this project. And they might know so-and-so, right? So they're going to want to know what was your interaction with that person. And again, that's how this professional network helps you get jobs, right? Because if they trust and they've worked with that professional that you've connected and worked with in the past, and then they hear from you the type of work you did with them, and they might even call them up and say, hey, I saw on LinkedIn that you worked with so-and-so. What can you tell me about them? Should I hire them? Obviously, if you have a good relationship, a good professional working relationship with that LinkedIn connection, they're going to say, absolutely, you know, Will is awesome. You should absolutely hire him for this position. I've worked with him in the past and he's great. Okay, so now I want to get into those 3 levels that I talked about. Level 1 is maximizing your profile. So again, this LinkedIn account is all about your personal brand. You know, what are you trying to project to the world? Building this network will help you keep in touch. It'll help you find mentors, which is what the next thing I'm going to talk about. And it also helps you share useful information. And I'll talk about that in the next couple slides too. Through this, once you have your profile and you've established your brand, it's like any other algorithm. The more you use LinkedIn, the more it learns what you're interested in, and it starts to populate your feed. And I'll talk in more detail about this when I talk about Handshake. But this will help you research potential career paths. You know, sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. It's not until we're exposed through it to this new field or this new career pathway that we're like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to try that. And LinkedIn can help expose you to things if you use it, like I said, on a daily basis. It'll help you evaluate your options, and it'll also help you apply for jobs. So bottom line, LinkedIn is like your online resume. I call it the online CV, where you get to put, because resume usually you're limited to one page, whereas LinkedIn, you have an unlimited amount of information. So you can put everything you've ever done, all your academic and professional accomplishments can go on LinkedIn. And again, once you decide, once you figure out what you're looking for and you find your Ecoguy and what kind of company or position, you can start branding your LinkedIn to target that audience. So if you know you're looking for a biomedical device company, you want to write your LinkedIn account in a way that you're targeting that biomedical device company recruiter. So that's level one. Level two is identifying influencers. This is also very important because, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. I recommend you go on LinkedIn and start to identify some people you want to follow, right? So some influencers. So, if your dream job is Tesla, then yeah, Elon Musk should probably be somebody you're following on LinkedIn. And as he reads certain documents or he publishes certain videos or certain, information that he's putting out, you get to see and read what's on his mind, what he's thinking about, what he's exploring and researching. And that then helps you to populate your feed so that you can start to learn and read about what these people that they're kind of mentors, and not in a personal sense, but they're people you're aspiring to become, right? And so if that's your dream job and your dream position, you want to follow them so that you see what they're thinking about on a daily basis in the professional setting. Target recruiters. So definitely if you're looking for a biomedical device company, I'm just going to stick with that theme for the whole video, but obviously this applies to whatever field of engineering you're trying to get into. Target recruiters. Recruiters use LinkedIn on a daily basis. This is their number one tool to get people to apply for their positions. So find who the recruiter is at that biomedical, at Roche company, and then connect with them or follow them so that you can see what they're posting. Next up is recruiting post tips and resources that will increase your chances of getting hired. Recruiters have no shame. Like, I've seen videos from Microsoft recruiters that say, look, if you want to ace our technical interview, here's a 10-minute video on how you can do that. They would rather you know how to prepare so that when you get to the interview, you're not wasting their time. The worst thing that could happen is they invest time to interview you and you're totally unprepared and not qualified. Right? So they want to get as much information out for you as possible so that so that you know exactly what the target is so that you can best prepare to meet their expectations and meet that target. And then last but not least, by following other influencers, they get to curate your content, because when you see something that Elon Musk posts, for example, you can then repost it. It's clearly not your content, but you're reposting your reaction, you're reposting your thoughts, your professional lens and how you're viewing what they posted and what you read. It increases your visibility, right? And then people start following you maybe one day. And helps to build your professional network and to connect with other people. All right, cool. Last but not least, level 3, building your network, right? And this is just like you can connect with UCLA alums on the UCLA One network. You can also connect with alums on LinkedIn. They're in the same search functions that UCLA One has, LinkedIn also has. So you can use filters and keywords to search UCLA graduates, majors, or UCLA graduates who are working at certain companies, or UCLA graduates that have certain position titles that you're, a dream title that you're working towards. And then you can observe their professional and academic history, so their trajectory. So just because they're like CTO at Google doesn't mean they started there, at 22 years old with their bachelor's, straight out of their bachelor's degree. Obviously, they started somewhere else, and then they moved up and they switched companies and they switched titles and they worked their way up to that dream position. So you should realize that, you know, there's different paths to get to the end zone, to the end goal. And so looking at different people, different influencers and how they got to their end career or to their current title and position is a good eye opener for you, so that you can see that you don't have to start working at Google for your very first internship. You probably should start somewhere else and build your way up. And then, of course, you can connect with them. And this is the same as the UCLA one. You can write a simple email like, hi, my name is Will. We're both fellow Bruins, and I found your profile inspiring. I'd love to connect and learn more about what you do. Simple, concise, to the point. You're not asking them to do extra work. You're not saying, hey, can you be my mentor and teach me everything you know? If you ask me that, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, now I got work to do. Do I really want to do all this extra work? As opposed to if you just tell me, hey, I just want to learn what you've done and I just want to hear about your pathway. That's easy. All I got to do is talk about myself and what I've done. That's cake. That's not work at all. That's an easy ask of me. So again, don't ask for anything. Don't make it about you. Just say, hey, I want to learn more about you and what you've done. And I'd say most UCLA alums remember being an undergrad, being desperate to find that first industry internship, or desperate to learn about how, you know, to translate the theoretical knowledge you learn in your bachelor's degree to an actual job in industry. So they're willing to help and they want to pay it forward. All right, cool. So that's LinkedIn. What I want to do now is transition to Handshake and how to start finding actual career opportunities. So the first two portions obviously are about networking and about finding influencers and about being exposed to information. Handshake is really, what I want to focus on Handshake is really about actually searching for internship and entry-level jobs. So on the poll earlier, I asked you if all of you had a Handshake. Hopefully all of you do. So again, Handshake is about your profile and your brand. Like I said earlier, Handshake has an algorithm that matches things. The more you use Handshake, the more clicks you have, and the more complete your profile is, the better Handshake is able to tailor positions, internship, entry-level jobs to you, and they can start filling your queue and your inbox with that information. But if you never use Handshake, if you never complete your profile, the algorithm won't know what you're interested in. They don't know if you want, you know, like, hardware positions, or if you want like infrastructure positions, like, or systems engineering positions. They don't know until you click and use the platform. So please, you should be using Handshake on the daily if you're actively looking for internship opportunities. I would say an average undergraduate student who's actively looking for positions is logging 10 hours a week to this search process, either on Handshake, on LinkedIn, or, writing resumes or applying online to positions or following up with recruiters. On Handshake, what I want to focus on is how you can search for full-time jobs and internships. And again, this applies to international students, so positions abroad, and domestic positions. And it's easy access to on-campus events. So all of the on-campus recruitment events, for the most part, I would say 90% of the ones that happened at the Career Center are posted on Handshake. And you get to directly interact with Handshake recruiters through Handshake messaging. So again, the difference between using Handshake and using something like Monster or Indeed or LinkedIn is you got to remember that Handshake is specifically companies coming to UCLA saying, we want to hire Bruins for this specific position. As opposed to if you go on Indeed and Monster, the company's saying, this is for the whole world. We'll take anybody. And so if they're posting on UCLA Handshake, it's because they want a Bruin. So you have an in already. So I always tell students to start with Handshake, and then if you don't find what you're looking for on Handshake, then branch out to the company website or to Monster or to Indeed or to LinkedIn. But start with Handshake first. All right, here's a screenshot of what it looks on inside Handshake. So, you have these tabs up here. You have a jobs tab, an events tab, a Q&A. So you go to the jobs tab, and then you have these search criteria, right? These keywords that you can type in here. So this search criteria is putting chemical engineer, process engineer, chemical, R&D, manufacturing, data, petroleum, gore, data scientist. And there's this drop-down menu here for filters. In the black box. And so you can search by part-time, full-time, internship, on campus. You can search by state. You can search by domestic, international. Like basically there's tons of search options. So my recommendation is that you create search functions and then you save them. There are these little stars. Okay, when you find a position that meets what you're looking for, click it. Click the star button because that helps the algorithm identify what it is you're interested in and what you're looking for. And guess what? Handshake wants to help you. They don't want you to spend 10 hours a week looking for 10 through 1,000 jobs for the perfect position. They want to use the algorithm to send you those perfect matches. So it will save, or you can manually save these search criteria, these filters, and you can label it. And there's even a button that says, email me every time a new position is posted that meets this search criteria, right? So you don't have to do the work. Handshake will do the work for you, but you need to automate the search function. So that means you have to search, set your filters, save your filters, and then click the button that says email me. So that way you're getting an inbox. You can get it once a day. You can get it once a week, whatever you choose to do. You can set it up so that those positions that meet the criteria you're looking for are automatically sent to you, or at least when you log into Handshake, they populate your feed. So that's what these boxes are about. You got this black box for the filters, and then certain positions come up, and then you got this yellow box here where it has a description of what it is. Oops, sorry. I'm going to pause. Sorry about that. I had to pause briefly because you heard the dogs. This is one of the new norms of online Zoom working from home, is you can't control what happens outside your house. So sorry about that, but I'm back. I was talking about the yellow box here, and this yellow box here is basically, it shows the match, right? So based on the filters you created, it will match to what you're looking for, and it'll give you the position, and it'll tell you how you match. If you match by major, by GPA, by school, or by on-campus internship, etc., right? And then it tells you how long the position is posted, right? So this is just biotherapeutics, full-time job, Seattle, Washington, paid, posted on July 24th, and then it has an application deadline. And of course, you can even apply. Sometimes it'll say apply online directly through Handshake, and sometimes it'll say apply externally, which is usually a link to the home web page for that company. So this is how you can start finding internship and entry-level jobs. So please use Handshake, save those filters, automate it by clicking the button that says email me. The more you click, the algorithm will know what you're looking for. All right, transitioning to the next slide, events. Handshake is also, like I said earlier, the place where you can find events. So under the events tab, which is right here, you can search events, you can find career fairs, you can explore jobs. So, you know, again, there's different search filters you can use for different types of events. And then the key here is that you click on those events and you say, you know, the little star button that says, yes, I like this event. You can view the event. You can RSVP for the event. The more you click, the more Handshake knows what types of events you're interested in. And again, it will populate your feed and email. If you click that button, it'll automate sending you emails whenever a new event is posted that meets the search criteria and the filters that you're looking for. So again, use it so that it automates. And of course, unfortunately, this quarter, due to the COVID, the spring career fair has been postponed, but this is the last career fair during winter quarter. And so, you know, you definitely want to sign up for those career fairs on Handshake and do the in-person meet and greet. We don't have time to go into like in-person meet and greet or elevator pitch or networking events in this workshop, but it is definitely essential to the selection process, right? And last but not least, I want to show you some resources. I kind of referenced this earlier under the Career Center tab. There is a drop-down menu of resources. That's where you found that Focus 2 assessment, self-assessment. There's also a career guide that's published every couple of years. So I think they didn't publish a new one this year. They'll probably publish one next year. But I highly recommend you read that career guide. There's a lot of good information in there. And then there's also a bunch of other resources that you don't know what you don't know. So please click on them, explore them. There's like online mock interviews here that you can, like if you have an interview and you're really nervous about it and you don't know how to prepare for it, you can do an online mock interview. in the Career Center resources. There's just so much here that you don't know is there. So please do check it out and explore those Handshake resources. So to close, there are additional resources that I want to share with you. The first is that we do have peer advisors for our undergraduate internship and research program. Here's a flyer with our current 3 peer advisors. They have 15-minute drop-in virtual appointments. We are offering it spring quarter through Zoom. So you just click on this button, you complete a short, quick 5-minute pre-advising questionnaire. They will then email you with a Zoom link and a specific appointment day and time based on what you said you were available in the pre-advising questionnaire. So they're available over, I think it's over 30 hours, which is on the next flyer. Yeah, so this is the schedule. So if you download this, you can see the schedule, or if you just go to our website, you can click on that QR code and it'll take you. Over 25 hours a week. Every week for the rest of the quarter. They're available for virtual Zoom appointments. So if you have any questions about the content I presented in this video that I don't answer in the live Q&A today, or if you start doing some of the stuff I've suggested and then you have questions later, please do reach out to our peer advisors. They are available to support you. And again, it's all about paying it forward, right? They've all successfully secured an industry internship, secured research positions, so they're available to help you. And last but not least, there is another resource called the, sorry about this, clicking too much here. There's an Engineering 23 seminar course. It's offered this quarter. It's Tuesdays, 2 to 4 p.m. I think it's maybe too late. I don't mind adding you to the course. It's still, if you're interested. Imagine all the content I presented in 1 hour. Imagine the depth of content I can cover in 10 weeks, right? In 10 two-hour meetings. There is an info session. If you can't take it this quarter because it's probably too late or your schedule doesn't allow it, it's offered every quarter, fall, winter, and spring. We're having an info session on April 27th to talk about what we cover in the course, go over the syllabus and the expectations and the assignments so that you know exactly what you're getting out of the course if you were to sign up for it come fall quarter. Okay. Last but not least, here are some links to some important websites that I think you should be using in your internship job search. And I think that sums it up. Thank you for listening to the video. Move forward, engineer change through internships. What I'm going to do now is transition to the live Q&A. So I'm going to stop this video and then feel free again to post your questions about the content I just presented using the Q&A button. Thanks.